Time now to check out Suzuki's all-new middleweight pure sports machine, the GSXR 600. At the heart of this ripper is a redesigned 599cc inline 4 that is more compact and has shed 9 pounds in weight compared to its previous incarnation. The other big change for 2001 is the adaptation of an all-new engine management system, which controls the dual throttle valve fuel injection and ignition timing. There's also a pile of chassis improvements and, of course, upgrades in the braking department. The results of the overhaul are very impressive. How so, you ask? Well, recently, while attending the 15th anniversary of the Suzuki Cup Finals, we asked experienced reporter Colin Fraser to sample the new GSXR out on Georgia's Road Atlanta Raceway, and he couldn't stop gushing about the bike's performance. Well, let's talk about that performance because we just finished the technical briefing. We know there's a larger airbox. We know now
repositioned scoops.
Repositioned scoops. We know we've got fuel injection, and Suzuki is very proud of their dual flapper valve system that's supposed to develop more torque. Now, what's the situation? You've been out there all morning.
Well, the guys who like to ride these bikes are going flapper valve, snapper valve, what's she do, right? And the fact of the matter is that flapper valve is key, the two-stage, because the power delivery is seamless, and that's very unusual for a 600. There's only maybe one other 600 that can truly claim to have good linear power, and this is a step above. Plus the performance is a step above. They're claiming, and we tend to use the word claiming because we're skeptical, that there's 5% more overall horsepower and 8% more mid-range torque. And I would actually say those numbers feel conservative, that the performance is there, that this bike is a significant step in terms of what the 600 class is capable of. And this is so much further ahead than the previous GSXR.
Now, Suzuki has shaved a lot of weight off this bike from the previous model. They've also changed the chassis, they've improved the components, new cartridge fork, big diameter rear shock, lots of trick racing componentry. How does the chassis work?
The chassis works very well. What's interesting is they've compressed it that way and lowered it to try and lower the center of gravity. Obviously, it's going to be a little lower in terms of CAG. I do notice with this bike where you place your body makes a difference. It's kind of like a 250 in that it likes to have you over the front wheel and it accelerates really hard, which makes it advantageous to get over the front sometimes, not something 600s usually have as a concern. But also because I'm a relatively tall guy, certainly for this class motorcycle, although this doesn't look big, it's much more accommodating than previous GSXRs, and I can't sit back or move forward, and it allows you to do some tuning with your body weight. And of course, your weight is such a big part of the total weight of the motorcycle. That's handy too. Right now, even though I've ridden 50 or 60 laps and I'm making some chassis adjustments and those sorts of things, and of course it's good to see that it does respond the way you'd expect, there's nothing about the bike that says throw this away and spend $800 on a new whatever. And the shock in particular, given the thrashing it's received, hasn't faded at all, and that's not typical. Normally this sort of track, and this is a very demanding track, is very hard on components like the shock absorber.
I have to say that it looks like Suzuki really have stepped up again. As far as their sport bikes go, the quality of the fit and finish does look good.
It's very, very racetrack in that it's elemental, big beefy frame, big swing arm, and it has a fairly stripped down look for a street bike. And this is a good racetrack bike, it's a good sporting machine, it's got very, very strong performance for a 600, and of course with the fuel injection, the tuning options, and the way the bike's going to perform when modified, it's in a whole new world compared to carburetors.
Well, thanks very much, Colin, for spending the time with us. I think you have about, well, maybe another good hour of track time available, so we won't hold you up anymore. Thanks for your impressions. Have fun.
Talk to you soon.